Hello everyone, I am Manas Srivastava. Welcome to UPSC Essentials Live with Manas. हर समय एक प्रश्न जो हमेशा आता है हमें वो है CSAT के अराउंड. And is CSAT really getting tough? Or what should we do around CSAT? बहुत सारे ऐसे problems हैं. There are many queries which revolve around CSAT. In fact, 2023 का जो prelims था, the prelims of 2023 which saw the difficulty level of CSAT going higher. This, as reported, in various newspaper, their experts talk of the UPSC Essentials also talked about, if you remember, the difficulty level of a CSAT. Okay, now we've been getting emails around this particular theme since the beginning of our initiative, and I think this is the first time we are picking up this issue. We are picking up this topic because you wrote to us on this particular issue of CSAT. So first of all, what is CSAT? We will talk about it, and then we will see what are the trends, what is the trend in the CSAT in the recent past, and is there any solution within all the problems and challenges which are accompanying this particular paper. I am talking about CSAT, the paper which is not a compulsory but a qualifying paper in the first step of UPSC Civil Services exam, जो कि है prelims का stage. Okay? So we all know that prelims के stage में there are two papers. One is the general studies paper and the other is the CSAT paper. Before I go ahead, I would like to invite all the questions which are coming Instagram pe live, and this particular, the live video will be also there on YouTube as a recorded video. Even there you can comment and ask questions around the CSAT paper and the issues around it. तो चलिए बात करते हैं प्रीलिम्स की. तो प्रीलिम्स 2011-2013 के बाद जो चेंजेस हुए हैं, in those changes you will find that one of the most important change which students have been noticing, facing challenges with, is the introduction of the CSAT paper. जो कि prelim stage में there are two papers, the general studies paper which is very compulsory, number जुड़ते हैं, and CSAT का paper where there is no compulsion but it is a qualifying paper. Now, what do I mean by a qualifying paper? पहले वो clear कर लेते हैं. I know a lot of people must be thinking qualifying paper का मतलब क्या है? And if it is only a qualifying paper, then why do we need to worry? Okay, what is the challenge behind it? Meanwhile, you can keep commenting, keep asking questions, and the genuine questions related to this theme or, UPSC in general or news in particular, we can take up. So CSAT का पेपर जो है उसमें there are 80 questions in a CSAT paper, around 200 marks. Okay, so 200 marks, 80 question, and now the next logical question which should come to your mind is that what is the CSAT paper made up of? तो जो लोग पेपर देते आए हैं या जो लोग तैयारी करते आ रहे हैं, they would know that the CSAT paper consists of maths, reasoning and reading comprehensions. Okay, so ये तीन important elements हैं, maths, reasoning and reading comprehension. It does have negative marking. Negative mark is of like 1/3 deducted for each wrong answer. So each wrong answer, 1/3 marks are deducted. Now when I say qualifying paper means that 33% of marks, that is 66 out of 200 in paper 2 you have to get. तो अगर आपको qualify करना है prelims, तो आपको at least 33% score करना, that is 66 out of 200. Well, now it seems 66 out of 200 ये तो बहुत आसान है. This is very easy, isn't it? That's what the general thing comes in mind. Number जुड़ने भी नहीं है final list में, final cut off में. Then why is it a problem? Okay, now here is our discussion which should take off. Like for example, जो questions हमें आते हैं और पूछते हैं लोग, वो कुछ इस तरीके से हैं, which I'm going to quote in front of you. Wasn't CSAT meant to be general aptitude and not to select an expert? Or how far does the CSAT paper qualify the general understanding of quote qualifying paper? For whom is it easy and who are actually struggling? These are the certain questions around which CSAT paper पे लोग question पूछते हैं, apart from what is the strategy to deal with it. The answer seems very simple, but it is not, because you all know that the UPSC journey is full of ups and downs. So the paper's difficulty level has been assessed by various experts. I would not go into it because for some, the paper is from moderate to easy, for some moderate to difficult, for some difficulty level is high, depends on your preparation, okay, and on your personal struggles. But if I break up the marks, so up we'll just shift quickly to the marking pattern. The marking pattern in the CSAT examination, अगर आप देखेंगे the number of questions asked in the each category. तो सबसे पहले there are three categories: comprehension, reasoning and basics, numeracy and maths. ठीक है, ये तीन categories हैं. Now reading comprehension में on an average from 2015 to 2020, and if I consider 2023, on an average 25 to 30 questions आते हैं. 25 to 30 questions in reading comprehensions. What are reading comprehension? We will talk about it in a few minutes from now. And then reasoning में अगर देखें, so reasoning में around 15 to 20 again. 15 to 20 on an average questions we can trace in the reasoning section. Last year reasoning में 13 to 14 questions आए थे और reading comprehension में around 27 questions. Basics, numeracy and maths में around 40 questions पिछले साल आए थे, which is a higher level. So 30, 31, 28, 18, 32, 42 ये रहा maths का 2015 से 2020 तक, and last year it was around 40 questions. Now when I say it is qualifying, the next question which should come to your mind is what is the syllabus? So basically maths का syllabus या reasoning का syllabus ये जो है वो 10th class, it is based on the 10th class ka syllabus. They say that 10th class syllabus or 10th class ka standard would be, the questions will be framed in maths and reasoning around class 10th syllabus. But the questions which come to us, that was it actually class 10th level or is it going higher? So this whole issue around CSAT is, ongoing issue because students have been facing challenges. अब गाड़ी यहीं पे नहीं रुकती है. Let me also talk about how challenges should be seen as, a stepping stone to success, in a way that you have to take out your ways to deal with it. Alright, आप सबको इस साल एग्जाम देना है या आने वाले साल में एग्जाम देना है. So it's very important that you start thinking of the strategies to tackle these challenges. No one can predict what is going to come in the next year exam or the 2024 exam or the years later. Okay, but one can always predict the strategy. Now let's talk about reading comprehension. Okay, now when you read newspapers, why are you reading newspaper? Or let me just start it in this way, that which of the three areas, reading comprehension, reasoning or maths, which do you find more difficult for you? Which is the difficulty level? Now I understand for those maths is a problem, wo maths kahenge. For those English comprehensions are the problem, we'll say English comprehensions. Okay, so comprehensions ke liye, newspaper reading can be one exercise which can help you, and it has to be done on a regular basis. I understand only 2-3 months are left for your, the next prelims, 3 months or so. But definitely reading newspaper is a habit with which you can, do the comprehension skills in a better way. Can anybody tell me who are watching me live on Instagram or maybe comment on YouTube when it goes on recorded, which is the area where you think that you can improve your reading comprehensions through newspaper? Okay, which is that those pages through which reading comprehension skills can be made better for CSAT examination. Okay, now it is not a guess, but if you read the whole newspaper properly, of course वो एक reading comprehension skill better करता है. But when you see the editorial page, yes, I'm not talking about explained today. I'm not talking about the front page today. I'm talking about the editorials. And in editorials, I know for some of you, the editorials become very difficult. The idea page may become a difficult, or the main lead editorial becomes a difficult. But what about these smaller editorials which are written on the, if you see the left-hand side of the page, these 3 smaller editorials. Okay. Now, when I see these editorials, I'm actually reminded of the comprehensions in the CSAT. Alright. Now, if you can also suggest, or if you can also tell what are the questions coming around comprehension, so CSAT. I'm sure many of you have already started focusing on CSAT paper, on comprehensions. Many of you have already started, maybe taking guidance around CSAT paper, and that's because you've been told that difficulty level is rising. Well, whether difficulty level is rising or not, that depends from person to person. But just look at these open. Okay, look at this editorial. There are 2 paragraphs, and you pick up any one. Okay, I pick up the last one because it's quite not very current affairs based. It's more comprehension based. It says Satvik Chirag. Okay, Satvik Chirag. Now I understand this is not journal knowledge based. Okay, but when you read these 2-3 paragraphs, you have to think from the perspective of CSAT comprehension. Now quickly, let's see what are the kinds of questions which are being framed in the questions, we frame from the comprehensions in the last year. So the question is like best reflects what this comprehension best reflects, what it implies, what is implied in the passage, what is the logical and rational message, crucial message by the author, what is the crux of the passage. Okay, and then they will ask that what is the valid assumption which you can make after reading the passage. So, जब आप questions देखें तो आपको लग रहा होगा that they are not directly being asked from what is written in the passage, but they are trying to know the essence, they are trying to know the message, they are trying to know the crux. तो जब आप passage पढ़ते हैं तो आप कैसे पढ़ते हैं? बहुत पहले मैंने 5W1H अप्रोच किया था, 5W1H, जिसमें मैंने बताया था कि करंट अफेयर्स बेस्ड पैसेजेस को कैसे पढ़ना है, आर्टिकल्स को कैसे पढ़ना है. लेकिन जब आप सीसैट के पर्सपेक्टिव से व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग अ पैसेज इन द न्यूज़पेपर, प्लीज आफ्टर रीडिंग ट्राई टू आस्क योरसेल्फ दिस क्वेश्चन, व्हाट डज द writer wants to tell us? What is the crux of the message? What is the crux of the passage? What is the assumption which can be made after reading the passage? Ask this to yourself. Discuss it with the peers. Okay, now this is something which I call reading the newspaper, not only from the perspective of current affairs, but from the the perspective of other dimensions of this exam. Here, one of the most crucial dimension of the exam, which is CSAT. Now, of course, when we talk about weakness and strengths in the CSAT paper, जिसकी maths strength है, वो maths से start करेगा, जिसकी reasoning strength है, they would start with reasoning. But it is never advisable that you leave, one entire section, okay? Reading comprehension is something which everybody does. And it depends on your reading skills, all right? So dear aspirants, if we have questions, we can take up the questions now, or I can just focus on something called reading skills, okay? Now, reading skills is an important part of this examination. कई बार आप पढ़ते पढ़ते गलत, आप गलत question पढ़ लेते हैं और उसका गलत answer दे देते हैं. So, UPSC preparation also focuses on concentrated reading skills, focused reading skills, and newspaper reading helps you in building that reading skills. ये तुरंत नहीं आता है, इसको habit, जैसे I always tell that, to make a habit, of newspaper reading, it takes at least 6 weeks, or like 6 हफ्ता लगता है minimum to, to get that into a habit, to get that into your system. So next time when you are reading a comprehensions, you have to ask these set of questions from yourself. That what does this author mean? What is the crux of the message? Okay, what is the crux of the article? What are, logical and rational message? So the message is the center. Message is the center of journalism also. When they want to write an editorial, the message they want to convey through these open editorial pages or, through the idea pages. Sometimes this crux can also be seen in the excerpt. तो मैं आपको एक तरीका बताता हूँ, ठीक है? Now, sometimes we do it with our students. Just hide the excerpt. Read the 3 paragraphs. Excerpt को hide कर लीजिए और 3 paragraph पढ़ लीजिए. And then just think yourself that what is the central message. And then when you think of the central message, just remove your hand from the excerpt. Excerpt तो सबको पता ही है, headline के नीचे जो 2 line होती है. So you just remove your hand from there and see if what you've been thinking as the central message matches with the excerpt. If it does, well, good. If it is closer to it, it's good. But if it is completely opposite, then of course there's a problem. That means you have to practice more. Now let me also keep asking you, अगर आपको कुछ valid question CSAT से लग रहे हैं, तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. We can, you know, think about it, ponder on it, dive deep into it. I can take your suggestions. What do you want us to do in the CSAT area? You can tell me. This live is one of the efforts where, you know, we've kept the news aside. We've brought you in the center, okay? We brought aspirants and their queries in the center, and most of the queries are related to CSAT. Now, I'm ready to take some questions, and here is the question.
So, if SSR is asking, what are the required resources for CSAT?
Okay, so the resources of the CSAT, as I told you, कि पहले तो 10th level की maths and reasoning you should know. This is keeping the difficulty level aside. At the same time, when you are reading newspaper, think from the perspective of comprehension. The bare minimum which you should do in CSAT is read the newspaper for comprehensions. For logical reasoning and mathematics, you can also look at the previous year questions. That can also be very helpful. If you're new to, like, for say maths and reasoning, I would always suggest to join some test series or take some guidance. But if you are, say, appearing for the next year, then I'm sure that reading newspaper will improve your comprehension skills. Okay, next question.
Anushka Bansod is asking, how challenging CSAT would be for an art student?
Well, I'll tell you something, and this is not to disappoint or discourage many people. Through our, expert interviews and articles, we found that even IITians have faced a lot of problem in dealing with the CSAT paper. This is the general view. There can be exceptions. So, इसमें art side or humanities side का कोई लेना देना नहीं है. You have to see your strength. Of course, you have to, think smartly, work hard. So, आपको ये तो आप हटा ही दो दिमाग से that you are an art student or humanities students. अगर अगर आप दलदल में आ गए हैं, so it's better, to struggle. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. आपके लिए comprehension skills could be easy because you are a social sciences humanities background student where you can understand things quicker than the other people. But yes, of course, it depends person to person. Some people who are from non-humanities background can do better in the comprehension skills. So focus on the strategy rather than focusing on your background. Okay. All right. So these two very valid questions. Now the question on sources have been asked to me several times. I understand, see, maths, reasoning are something for which you have to go back to your static sources. You might need some guidance if you are weak there. And secondly, but for this comprehensions, of course, previous year questions, you have to see कि comprehensions में किस type के questions पढ़े जा रहे हैं. My focus here is that while you are reading a newspaper, read it from different perspective. And not just to collect data and facts for your current affairs, not only to understand the writing skills for your mains writers, mains answers, not only for your interview answers, but also for reading comprehension ability ko बढ़ाने के लिए, for your reading comprehension skills. Now, I just want to clarify in the previous question, I might have, spoken a lot about humanities and non-humanities. See, there are students who are humanities background, they do well in maths and reasoning. On the other hand, there are students who are from science, engineering, medical background, who do comprehensions better. It's about where you've been investing a lot. Okay, if you've been investing in reading, you're increasing your reading skills. If you're investing more in your mental ability and maths, you're improving that. And it is also that at that moment in the exams, where is your brain applying? And it is actually valid for all kinds of examinations. Sabhi examination के लिए ये valid है. Okay, so in between I will also be bilingual. मैं हिंदी में भी बोलूँगा because I understand there are a lot of viewers of mine who are also from Hindi medium background. So मैं वो भी आपकी भी queries को discuss करूँगा. तो जो अगर हिंदी medium background से है या regional language background से है, if you have any query on CSAT, you can either comment on live. Some people are shy commenting on live, so they can also write on manas.srivastava@indianexpress.com. manas.srivastava@indianexpress.com. You might have seen our initiatives through UPSC Key and UPSC Essentials and UPSC Magazine, Essentials Magazine on the Indian Express, with various videos which we also do. और ये जो live video है on Instagram, which will go on recorded on YouTube, is a part of that process. Now, coming back to the comprehension skills, of course, एक और तरीका जो आपको रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशंस को बेटर बना सकता है वो है टू आस्क वाइल रीडिंग द कॉम्प्रिहेंशन द 5W1H, व्हाट, व्हेन, वेयर, हाउ. बट ये जो ये तरीका है, ये दिस मेथड इज मोर यूजफुल इन योर करंट अफेयर स्किल्स. ओके, योर करंट अफेयर स्किल्स, देयर दिस इज more beneficial for you, but mostly just go by the trend of the question. Okay, now I would also like to ask questions and engage with you on your challenges with CSAT. CSAT को लेकर जो आपके challenges हैं, जो maybe live में अभी मैं नहीं आपसे interact कर पा रहा हूँ या मैंने नहीं address किया है, you can also pick that. Okay, जिसमें एक मुझे लगता है कि one is definitely with the language or the background issue or the educational background issue. इसके लिए definitely, you do not have to wait for a particular change or anything which is going to happen in the coming years. आपको जो attempt देना है वो आने वाले दिनों में देना है, आने वाले साल में देना है. So it's better to now just sit and strategize that what is your weakness and what is your strength. There's a very important phrase for UPSC aspirants which is said, to know something about everything and everything about something, which also applies in the CSAT paper कि अगर आप maths और reasoning से दूर भाग रहे हैं, it's not a good thing. You should know something about it. Just look at the trend कि कौन से topic से questions ज़्यादा आते हैं. Try to focus on that. And remember, this is just a qualifying paper. All right. But this qualifying paper has also offered a lot of challenges in the future. In the end, I think I will end up with the questions which I have already, started this question in the beginning. Some thought-provoking questions to you, but you have to find your answers. And the questions were, wasn't CSAT meant to test the general aptitude and not to select an expert? How far does the CSAT paper qualify the general understanding of qualifying paper? For whom is it easy and who all are struggling? So these are the questions which generally are asked to me about CSAT. But मेरा एक कहना ये है that from challenges to opportunities, you have to take another shift, another turn and look at the solutions. आज मैंने आपको ये बताया है कि comprehensions को मतलब expertise लाने के लिए, उनको reading में expertise लाने के लिए, you should focus on the editorial के small comprehension, not only from the perspective of gaining knowledge, but also to improve reading skills. We might do more such sessions on CSAT. Please send your queries on email and we will try to address them as much as possible. That's all for today. We will come back tomorrow, next Wednesday, next week on Wednesday at 5 p.m. again. Don't forget to watch our daily newspaper analysis, which is top 3 must-reads from the newspaper every day from Monday to Friday. Okay, so as I say, in the end, think smart, work hard, conquer your goal, especially when it comes to the CSAT paper. Bye-bye.